Office here in New York listening in on all of this. The Iraq War veteran, CEO of Independent Veterans of America, and host of the Independent Americans podcast. Your take on where this is all going in the Middle East and whether those, nuclear facilities that we talked about are on the table for real or should be?
The lid is off. I mean, we've been talking about this for months now, saying we've been lucky that it was contained only to Gaza, and what would happen if. Now, Lebanon is in play. There's a ground invasion there happening with the Israeli forces. We've got Iranian proxies and, Iran proper. So the entire region is engaged. And I think the question is, how far does the lid come off? And I think the Israelis have made it clear they're going to retaliate. The Iranians will likely retaliate. And this is spiraling. And I think now is a time for American leadership, for NATO leadership, for the world to try to come together and provide support for Israel, and also to try to keep a lid on it as much as possible, prevent it from overflowing into the region, shutting down shipping ports, impacting the global economy, and getting much worse.
Right in the middle or at the tail end of a presidential campaign. We all watched the vice presidential debate last night. As we move on from that, I want to talk to you and get your perspective on the campaign. Two things. What are they saying today? Well, the Trump side of it, the Truth Social post right after the debate from the president went like this. Lion Kamala just put out a request for another debate because they lost so badly. And he says, again, it's like the fighter lost. Gets up, says, I want a rematch. He says, I beat Biden, then beat her. I'm not looking to do it again. So he rules out another debate. The Harris side, meantime, even though there's been a lot of talk about how Vance was the better debater than Walz, thinks that they scored some points late in the debate talking about democracy in January 6th, and they've already cut an ad about that. Here's a clip from the ad.
Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future.
That is a damning non-answer. America, I think you've got a really clear choice of who's going to honor that democracy and who's going to honor Donald Trump.
I want to know what you think, but right now I'm told J.D. Vance was just asked about this live on the campaign trail. Let's listen and see if we can catch the tail end of his answer.
Your polling location. It'll give you some good information about how to vote and also how to volunteer. Because, one of the things that we're trying to do to ensure common sense election integrity is to promote more poll watchers. We've got more poll watchers in the Republican Party today than we had 4 years ago. If you're interested in helping us out and making sure that every legally cast ballot counts.
So he's into election integrity. As I was playing the clip from the ad, he said this. This is just literally seconds ago. Let's listen.
I know all of you do. The media is obsessed with talking about the election of 4 years ago. I'm focused on the election of 33 days from now because I want to throw Kamala Harris out of office and get back to common sense economic policies.
How big of an issue? 4 years later, still talking about an election from 4 years ago and whether or not someone lost.
I think it's a big issue. Whether or not you recognize the results of the last election is a big issue. I think that was a lone bright spot for Tim Walz last night. The war now continues to unfold, the political war, but they lost that battle last night. I think it was clear to any objective watcher that Vance did better than Walz, in part because he looked better. He looked more composed. He looked more prepared. And in many ways, he looked different than he normally does, right? People were saying a couple weeks ago that Trump should dump Vance because he was such a liability. Now they're on offense. Football analogies are overused, I think, but you see they have momentum right now. And Walz didn't look comfortable last night. He didn't look strong last night. And now the spin begins on both sides. But I think advantage last night goes to Vance. And even if it was a draw, that's probably an advantage to Trump because Walz was viewed as a much more formidable candidate until last night.
How much did he hurt himself, Walz, with the China stuff back and forth? I mean, nobody seemed to know how he was explaining 1989. When was he there? When was he not? In fact, he was asked today, and he's still explaining. This is what he said a short time ago, Tim Walz.
You yourself just said Iran is as close to a nuclear weapon today as they have ever been. And Governor Walz, you blame Donald Trump. Who has been the vice president for the last 3.5 years? And the answer is your running mate.
All right, so obviously that's from the debate. I want to go back. No, this is Walz today. He was still explaining, trying Hong Kong, China, Tiananmen Square. Here's what he said.
I have my dates wrong. I was in Hong Kong and China in 1989. That move from Hong Kong into China, it was profound for me. That was the summer of democracy. I said it's where I understood how sacred democracy was. It's what encouraged me about 15 back and forth with my students, taking them to China to understand.
Again, big story, big deal.
much better answer there than last night.
Right.
I mean, if you want to stretch the football analogy, last night Walsh threw a pick six. I mean, that was an interception. It was a terrible answer. He looked like a deer in headlights. He wasn't straightforward, and now they're trying to clean it up. And I think what you see again is that Vance is on the offense, right? If you're explaining, you're losing. And Walsh has got to clean stuff up right now, and Vance is continuing to press the pace. And I think ultimately the undercurrent here, they're both veterans. First time we've ever had post 9/11 veterans opposite each other. And they're both vying for the same people, which are independent, largely men, non-college educated men in places like Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin. And last night, I think Walsh struggled with that group. He didn't come through and deliver that knockout punch. That's why they brought him in, to deliver to those kind of people. And fumbly answers like that aren't going to score him points.
Now, I know veterans issues, generally speaking, are near and dear to your heart. You've done a lot of work on veterans issues for years and years. The other thing that's come up this week before the debate was Donald Trump's comments, again, about members of the military, which he's made, derogatory comments about members of the military for years and years, whether it's John McCain or the comments about suckers or whatever it may be, rarely pays a political price for them. He was asked a question in Wisconsin, and here's how it went.
Do you believe that you should have been tougher on Iran after they had launched ballistic missiles in 2020 on U.S. forces in Iraq, leaving more than 100 U.S. soldiers injured?
So, first of all, injured. What does injured mean? Injured means you mean because they had a headache, because the bombs never hit the fort. So just so you understand, there was nobody ever tougher in Iraq.
A headache. I mean, go ahead.
Now it's Trump's chance to throw an interception. I mean, that's a terrible answer. It's an ignorant answer. I think 90 people were awarded Purple Hearts in that attack. Traumatic brain injury may not be visible to everyone, but it's significant. And it's the signature injury of our war. The commander-in-chief should know that. And this feels like he's bringing politics into it rather than prioritizing our veterans. I think this will now hurt him with independence in places like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. So they're going back and forth. And this is why a lot of people are sick of both sides, because it feels like they're both fumbling. They're both shooting themselves in the foot. They're both not being straightforward and honest.
Like I said, he doesn't pay a price for this usually.
I think he does over time.
Really? Explain, because you know this community well.
I do think, 4 years ago was different, right? It was just the John McCain thing. Now it's the Arlington thing. It's the Medal of Honor recipient thing. It's this. It seems like a pattern, and it cuts to a core issue, which is character. Can you trust him to understand the character that's required to be commander-in-chief? And it also comes on an endorsement from General Stanley McChrystal, who focused on that issue specifically. If you can get retired generals, if you can get other people with integrity who are trusted to focus on character, I think Trump's going to lose some ground on those issues in ways he hasn't over time, because now it looks like a pattern.
Thank you, Paul. As always, we talked about each side fumbling. To use your analogy, a lot of fumbles, like a jet game.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we're just getting started here on